Good morning, beautiful people. And today we're going to be breaking down how one of my students, Shane, got a job in just about a month after joining Setters Up as a DM setter. And I received this message and I was thinking about it that some of you have been in the space for months, even years now, and you guys are just unable to find a good role. So I was like, you know what? What I'm going to do is give you everything that Shane did in the first 30 days to kind of get the results that he got. And we're going to be speed running through this because, again, if I, kind of go into immense detail with each one of them, this video is going to be like 4 hours long. So we're going to be speed running each one of these things. So let's make sure we have a notebook, we have a pen, so we can maximize the use of this. So, how do you find a job under 30 days, or how did Shane do it? So, we're going to be breaking this down into three different stages. Stage one is the preparation, or what are some of the things that we did in the first initial stages to set the foundation for everything else that we were going to do over the next couple of weeks. Then we have the stage two, which is the implementation. How do we go about implementing everything that we had discussed in stage one? And then we have stage three, which is the after effects of like what happened after he did get a job. So, in terms of the stage one, the first thing that we did was something we call the onboarding doc. So typically, when students join us in, we have this onboarding document that we send to them, and it has a lot of questions in it. We have questions such as, your relevant sales experience, your biggest life achievements, your top five values as a person, your short term, long term goals, and what type of offers you would want to work with. Now, the reason we do this is because a lot of the times, if it's a beginner that's just joining the space, they do not have any high ticket sales experience, but they do have relevant sales experience. For example, they sold, they did a bit of door to door selling, or maybe they had a business a while ago and they were going door to door, anything. Like, usually people do have some relevant sales experience, and that is like we're going to be leveraging all of that inside of our looms and on our interviews and also within our branding. So the first thing that you should do is, again, get clear on all of these things: your relevant sales experience, your biggest achievements. Again, the reason we want to go over the achievements, similar thing, we're going to be leveraging that within our interviews and also within our branding. So that was the first thing we did to kind of set the foundation of who he is, what are some of his achievements, and how can we maximize the use of his past experiences going into the future with something like DM setting. Now, the next thing that we did is having him unlearn most of the things that he has already learned. Because what a lot of the times happens now, Shane has been in a couple of different training programs, and as someone that teaches DM setting through intent based setting and not really the pain and goal approach, one thing that I do know is a lot of you guys just have really bad sales habits and approaches when it comes to DM setting, closing, phone setting, doesn't matter. And if I just end up giving you my approach and kind of teach you more things, what usually happens is people just dilute it and they mix it together with what they already know, and it kind of messes up the entire approach that we have in the first place. So our main goal here was for him to understand, like, hey bro, if you're getting into this with me, you got to unlearn majority of the things that you've learned so I can set your foundation from the get-go, and then I can give you everything that you need to make a mark for yourself within the space. So the second key point: unlearn everything that you know and kind of focus on this training. Now, the third one, which was the most important, which was creating a game plan for him on what we need to be doing over the next couple of weeks to maximize our use within Setters Up. Now, the first thing that we did was build a lifestyle that pushes him for success. The second thing that we did was, of course, go over branding and networking. The third thing we did was improve his DM setting skills because, again, intent based setting is what I teach. That's what gets my students a lot of money. That's the only reason I've been so successful, and that's what we teach to people. And then the fourth one was get referrals and placement from us because we do have guaranteed placements. Now, that was the entirety of stage one. Basically, the onboarding doc to come up with values. Again, I told you the reasoning for that, then unlearning what he has already learned, and then finally the game plan on, and I'll be touch basing on this later down the line within the stage two, which is implementation. So from day 3 to 25, we were just kind of putting in the reps on whatever we were discussing. So the first thing that I want to go over is talking about the fact that I basically wanted him to build a lifestyle that pushes him for success. Now, the way that I look at this, And if you've been following me for a while, you would already know this. I don't look at sales as a skill, but rather a lifestyle. It's not like you can have a fucked up life outside of sales and then show up to your day and think that you're going to make a lot of money because things matter. What you do outside of sales, outside of your working hours, matters a lot more than what you do when you are actually dialing or within the DMs. So, our main goal was for him to realize that the current life that he has is nothing but an accumulation of the decisions and the choices that he has been making, part of his routine and habits. And for us to maximize the use of our coaching, he needs to change that up. And the way I did that was I broke it down into four different things that he should focus on. Number one was, of course, religion. As a religious guy myself, I was like, hey, bro, you got to focus on that side of things. Second one was fitness. Third one was education. And the fourth one was relations. So outside of sales, these are four things that you should be focusing on. Now, education, that also includes sales and learning, in 10-based setting, but you get the ideas. Like building a lifestyle that pushes you for success is going to be a game changer for you. Now, the other thing that I want to discuss is, of course, the second pointer, which was the networking and branding guide. Now, the way that I want to explain this to you is in a couple of different ways. Now, I just realized I'm saying now a lot and I'm sick, so bear with me. Before we go ahead with networking and branding yourself to get more placements and referrals from people, you need to choose one single platform. And I know that goes against what other people teach, but let me tell you, I've made all of my money, whatever I've achieved within the space, has been through Facebook. I started my IG about 3 years ago, but that was because it was for my coaching. It had nothing to do with finding jobs or networking with people or anything like that. So what I want you to do is, rather than being on LinkedIn, being on Twitter, being on Fiverr, being on Upwork, being on IG and Facebook, just choose one platform. And if you can, just go with Facebook, because majority of what I would be teaching you today revolves around Facebook. Now, the other thing that I want to go over with you is I want you to understand the dark reality of branding, so you understand the essence of how a great brand is built. And again, I said the dark reality, so I'm not saying that what I'm teaching you is ethical. It is ethical, but if you don't have any experience and you're just faking everything, it's not going to serve you in the long term. But it's just the reality of branding and how it goes. Now, the question that I have for you is, for you to be the greatest, do you need to believe that you're the greatest, or do you have to be the greatest? Both are wrong. You just need to convince enough people that you are the greatest. And the reason I'm telling you that is because within our space, it rarely matters what you think about yourself. What matters more is what other people think about you. If other people consider you an absolute goat when it comes to DM setting, then guess what? You're going to get a lot of job referrals and opportunities from them. So, the next question that you might have is, how can I position myself to achieve that? How can I become that guy that people reach out to and they're like, hey, we have an offer. Would you want to jump on it? Now, for us to do that, you need to understand the psychology behind how great brands are built. I want you to just take a minute and look back to a few brands that people have built over the last few years. Some of the most prominent names are Andrew Tate, Alex Hormozy, and a few others that I just don't remember as of right now. So Andrew Tate, his entire brand is built around weak men versus strongmen. Let's talk about Alex Hormozy. His brand is built around work-life balance business owners and entrepreneurs, and fuck work-life balance, I want success entrepreneurs. So all great brands are built with this us versus them mindset, and kind of a like flow. And I want you to use this for yourself. And the way you're going to do that is by positioning yourself as the 1% of the setters versus the 99% of the space, or 99% of the setters. Now, your next logical question is, Yunus, how do I do this? What kind of posting? What should I talk about? Now, if you already have an offer, post your results, post your numbers. That is what matters. Nothing is going to help you stand out but numbers. That's a reality of our space, because it's numbers driven. You're in sales. If you show numbers, people are going to throw more numbers at you. But the biggest myth that I do want to break on this call is that people think that only numbers are considered as results, which is absolutely freaking insane because that's not the case. So if you are a complete beginner, you can still have some sort of results that you can leverage to stand out from the crowd. And the way you do that is, let's say you jumped on 11 interviews in 2 weeks, that's a result that you can post about. If you jumped on 60 networking calls with reps making over 10K a month, that's a win that you can post about. That's some sort of a result. If you lost 10 pounds, that's a post that you can make. But you got to keep in mind, this is the language. So your language should not speak neediness, desperate, weak, and all that stuff. You got to stand out from the crowd as the leader, as the 1% of setters, so you can actually start getting job referrals for yourself. Now, so a few key pointers that I want you to keep in mind is, number one, find a way to stand out from the crowd. Now, I see what a lot of you guys are doing is you guys are posting networking calls. You guys are posting day one of trying to make 10K in 30 days. I hate that sort of marketing and that sort of branding because the way you position it, people already know you're a fucking beginner that's joining the space. How do you expect to get referrals, right? So even if you have the greatest skills, just by the way you're branding yourself, it's kind of harming you. So what I want you to do is I want you to find your own way to stand out from the crowd. I want you to find your own way to stand out from the crowd. And a few people that you can check out, one of them is Harinder on Facebook. Shit, it's going to take me some time to write this. I think this is the spelling, something like Harinder Singh. Another guy who's a really good friend of mine, his name is Kareem. Shit, okay. And then it's, I guess, Evant. So it's EVANT, right? So those are the two people that you can check out to kind of get an idea on how to make a brand that actually stands out rather than just being someone that's kind of lost in the crowd. Number two is have a clear bio and use everything that we discussed here within your bio. So let's say you are a banker that's shifting to DM setting, put that, banker to DM setting. And then let's say you've given out loans worth 5 million worth of funding done. Again, we're just leveraging your relevant sales experience. And then finally, it's like open to networking or something like that. So I hope that makes sense. And then finally, we have the mastery. Now we have the networking mastery, because again, it is, if I go back, it is networking and branding. So I told you everything about branding. Now, what about networking? How do you go about networking? Now, the three things that you need to focus on is, number one, business owners. Number two, high level sales rep that make over 10K a month. Well, 10K a month is like not a deal maker or a breaker, but the entirety of it is the fact that they need to be making some sort of money, not complete beginners, and then managers. Now, the way you connect with beginners, even as a connect with business owners, even as a beginner, is through what we call the dead treasure. Now, I learned this method from, man, I forgot his name, but he's in the space. And he had this training teaching how to land more interviews, find more job offers, all that cool stuff. And the Dread Treasure method is simple. You go into Facebook groups and you search DM setter. And what you're going to see is you're going to find a lot of offers going back 4 to 5 months old that no one is reaching out to. And that's the gold treasure, because if they were looking for a DM setter at one point, they would need another DM setter soon. And what you do is you basically get in there, you text them, and you're like, hey, Jake, I saw that you were looking for a DM setter a while ago. I know that spot is probably filled in, but if you need a setter for the future, let me know. Or if you need one soon, let's stay in touch. Whatever you want to say, kind of craft your own message. And whoever responds back to you, typically these are business owners, whoever responds back to you being like, hey, the spot has been filled, you're right, but we would need one soon, or we need one right now, you put them in a Trello board. Right? So let me write this down for you. So whoever responds, you simply put them in a Trello board because you don't want to lose track of them. And if you do this for like 60, 90 days, you're going to have a list of like 50 plus business owners that have responded back to you, which means if you reply to them or send a text to them, it's going to pop up within their DMs. And you can always reach out to them being like, hey, I need a different offer. Do you have anything on the table? Insane. So the second one is high level reps. The way you connect with them is be picky with your hunting. That's it. It's like not some science. And the way you do that is by looking at their profile. If you have like maybe 10% common sense, maybe even like 7%, if you just go into a Facebook profile of a sales rep, It's really easy to know if they're someone good or if they just simply suck at what they do and they're complete beginners. Now, if they are good, please don't send them, "Hey, Jake, happy to connect with you. How's your week going?" It's freaking weird. Everyone is doing that. The best messaging that you can send is something that's humorous, different, and edgy. One of the messages that I used to send back when I was networking with setters was I used to say something like, Hey, I don't usually judge people on hey, I don't usually judge people based on their profile pictures, but you look like you've at least survived 3 weeks of ghosting. Are you a setter as well? Are you a closer as well? Bada bada boom, simple, it works. You can use ChatGPT to kind of get some help on this end. And then finally, managers, bro. To be honest, the best way to get in touch with managers and building a name for yourself by doing all of this that we discussed, and eventually enough managers are going to know you. So that's basically it. That are some of the things that we worked on. And then finally, we of course have refining his skills, his DM skills. Now, the way we did that was through intent based setting. And even if I try to break it down to you in like details, this video is just not enough. So I'm just going to give you a little sneak peek of it, or what were some of the most important things we worked on. Number one was setting the tone of the conversation. Number two was following the wave. Number three was pattern interrupt. What's setting the tone of the conversation? A lot of the people that are DM setters, they would know this. Typically, when you're in the DMs, people are closed off. They're giving you one word responses, and 70 of them just absolutely freaking ghost you. Now, I want you to imagine this for a minute. If 70 of them are ghosting you and you only have 30% of the leads you can speak to, and you're making 2K a month from that, if you can just somehow have them reply to you as well, all of a sudden you're making 6K a month on the same offer just because your approach is good. And I really want to highlight this fact because a lot of the DM setters that are stuck at like 2 to 3K a month, they think, oh, I just need a different offer. Please, I need a different offer. Please, I need a different offer. Have you ever heard a closer fucking say that, man? Usually not, because they know it's their skills. If they improve their skills, they're going to make more money. But as a DM setter, all of a sudden, it all becomes about the freaking offer. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't play a part, but I'm saying take some accountability for your skills as well. So what we do is we do something that's a bit different is we try to set the tone in the beginning of the conversation as something that is informally professional. So it's not too formal, it's not too weird and pressured. Let me ask you another question. I want you to visualize the word formal. And when you do that, you think about things such as sophisticated, pressure, high end, maybe a little bit of authority, right? But all of those words do not, they're not the best words because again, pressure, the formal, like a lot of sophisticated, and we don't want to do all of that. And based on what I've seen after generating like 15 million from the DMs, is the fact that the best approach is something that is informally professional, where they can relate with you. They can be like, shit man, this guy's like myself. The only reason he's so successful is because he actually did the fucking work. He can help me. And if you do this the right way, by adding humor, by just talking with them, by resonating with them and all that cool stuff, you can make a lot more money. The second one is following the wave. Now, this is a way where you can get 10x more information out of the lead without even using a script or anything, just by simply following the wave. And the reason I love this, the approach of following the wave, is the fact that it's replicable for any offer you're on, considering you're not dependent on a fucking script. Now, the way this works is whatever they say, you ask a question based on that. Let me give you an example. So if you are a setter, most of the times when you're in the DMs and someone says, "Oh, I'm not making money online, I'm just kind of looking into it," the setters say, "Oh, that's cool, bro. We have tons of beginners coming to us. By the way, what is it that you do right now then?" Now, again, it's not a bad question. If you want to make 2K a month, please go ahead and do that. But I want you to take a minute and think about it. They said something about making money, and all of a sudden you're talking about what they do. That's a massive jump. That's a massive jump. It seems unnatural. So the best way that you can go about this is talk whatever they're talking about in a way that leads the conversation towards the booking and gets you more information out of that. Gets you more information out of them without even trying, and that's intent-based setting. The third one is pattern interrupt. So this is where you basically give them clarity that they're working on something that's broken and it works amazingly in BizApp space like crypto, ecom, and like BizApp, and you get the idea. Now, again, I cannot go into details with intent-based setting and how it works, but I do have like a 16 minutes breakdown where I did like a breakdown of my entire DM convo funnel that I'll just put the link in the description that you can check out for yourself as well. And the stage three, was the after effects. So at this point, Shane had learned the new age of setting because he was doing tons of role plays. He was getting feedback from me. He was making the most out of it, and it got to a point where I was genuinely surprised by how good he was. Just because we were back and forth with the feedback because we worked one on one with our clients. The second thing that he achieved is he had a freaking top notch network. He was starting to get responses, and he was getting a few referrals from there as well. And then finally, he ended up getting a referral and a placement from us, and that's how he jumped on an offer. No, I'm just kidding. Now, of course, we did give him a referral, and he did jump on an offer from us, but that doesn't deny that doesn't define that it's the only reason he got on an offer, because he had multiple offers on the table that he found through networking. He's still chatting with a few people that he might potentially jump on with as his second client. So again, this was basically the video, an entire breakdown of how do you find a job as a DM setter in 2026 and the best way possible. And with that being said, I'll see you next week.